Pistol optics are not the future, they're the now, so much so that they're really commonplace and becoming kind of mundane to me and other people. So it's really odd when one actually gets my hype meter up. And that's exactly what the MPS-C from Steiner did. On paper it looks great, and honestly, I like the aesthetics of it. But given that it's a Steiner, it comes with all the caveats of that. The MPS-C is an enclosed emitter, a layout that's becoming my favorite, particularly for concealed carry. With open emitters, I find myself having to dig in there with a Q-tip for lint and plenty of curses more often than I like. With an enclosed emitter, you just don't have to deal with that. It's pretty much impervious to the outside elements like snow, dust, rain, or ash like we've been dealing with in Colorado here. The problem is with RMSc footprint enclosed optics, you either get a very small window or it looks like you have a toaster oven hanging off of your compact pistol. The MPS-C actually hits a pretty good balance with this, with the window coming in at 18 by 22 millimeters or 0.87 by 7.1 in old money. Compared to the Holosun EPS Carry, which has been a go-to optic for me for a long time, the Steiner MPS has a 10% larger window. The dot has 12 brightness settings, 2 for night vision and 10 for daylight settings. It's plenty bright even on bright sunny days, unlike this one. I never had a problem finding the dot. One of the unique things about the MPS-C is that it uses 1.6 MOA dot, whereas most red and green dots bottom out at about 2 MOA. I didn't think this would have a huge effect, but it does result in a really crisp, bright dot, and to an extent is helpful for finer aiming a little bit. The glass on the Steiner is extremely clear, as I would hope coming from Steiner. The looks on the MPS-C are equal parts edgy and functional. The front has a couple of prominent wings in front of that objective lens that protect the lens if you want to go do cool guy barrier racks like your Aaron Cowan. And the edges are beveled, so you're not going to have sharp corners on there, and it can help with concealment clothing melting over it a little bit better. There is a slit on the top that could be argued to help with indexing, but I don't think it's big enough to do that. Honestly, I like the aesthetics of it. The F117 meets cyberpunk is absolutely my jam. Now, the controls on the MPS-C are oriented vertically rather than what seems to be the industry standard of horizontal alignment. I tend to like this arrangement a little bit better because no matter how dark it is, I can always find the top of the optic and roll down and find the plus mark that brightens it, or find the bottom side and the minus mark that dims it. It does have a shake awake feature where after 130 seconds it turns off until it detects movement and turns right back on, until it's been on for 13 hours. Then no matter what, it will turn off and you have to manually turn it back on. Sorry about the wind, I wish I could do something about that. But now, I left my house at 7:20 in the morning yesterday and didn't get home until 9:30 at night. At that point, had I not manually turned this thing back on at lunchtime, I would have had a dot that was off without me knowing for nearly an hour. Now, if I needed my pistol at that moment, I would have pulled it out and had no dot whatsoever, which would have been a bad day. The 13-hour limit is incredibly stupid. Come on, Steiner, just give me a dedicated shake awake, and I promise I'll change my batteries quarterly. to, but I totally threw that round. The tool that comes packed in with the MPS-C is actually pretty sturdy and does everything you need it to on the optic, and even the mounting of it. The MPS-C comes with several screws that fit most of the common pistols out there. With 50 MOA of adjustment in the optic, it's highly unlikely that you're going to need to shim it, and adjusting with the 1 MOA increments on it was fairly easy. That extra little bit of window does let you stay in the optic a little bit more easily when you're on quick strings of fire. It's not really much, but I did appreciate it, particularly when I was shooting like crap and my recoil control fundamentals were trash. There is one more but with the Steiner MPS, and I promise you this is the last but of it, and that's cost of entry. 500 chicky nuggies gets you into the MPS-C club. That's a little steep, especially compared to some other offerings on the market. For agencies, it's really not that bad, but for the average concealed carrier, that's a bit steep. There is one population who I think would benefit from this all the same, and that's people with 1911s and 2011s who are stuck with a RMSc footprint cut on there. That extra bit of window pays off there. And if IDPA ever gets off their asses and starts a optic bug division, this would be an easy choice. The MPS-C has a lot of features I like, and clearly I like the aesthetics on it. But there's some features I'm just not crazy about, like that 13-hour auto shutoff. That just needs to die and go away forever. Beyond all that, Steiner has had some hit or miss quality control, though they do have stellar customer service, an aspect that I'm hoping I'm not going to have to enjoy with this. I like the MPS-C enough that I'm probably going to do a full year-long review with it as my concealed carry optic, and I may have got a new pistol on the way just to do that with this. Anyway, if you've stuck around this long and enjoyed watching me get beat to death by microbursts, then go ahead and leave a like and comment. Do you think I'm overblowing the 13-hour shutoff, or does it give you pause too? And make sure you subscribe because there's a lot more on the way.